The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. Recorded in the state of Washington by a group of campers in 1971, it is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
Hello! Welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. Hello everybody, welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. This is your host Chris. Thanks to all of our returning viewers for clicking on this video, as well as all of our brand new viewers. You have found one of the very few safe places to tell what happened to you while in the forest or near the forest, or picnicking, camping, hiking, fishing, walking home along that stand of trees. You saw something, or heard something, or both, or had that sickening sense, that feeling that you were being watched and that you needed to get out of there fast. But nobody believed you, or you were made fun of, or all of the above. You can tell us, we believe you, we know what you're talking about. It's happened to us, many of us. It is time to bring these incidents to the light. There are a couple other channels like this one that present an opportunity for people to tell what happened to them in an honest way. We're not going to leave out any of the details. Well, you can put all the details in. If you saw a Bigfoot hop up of a UFO, dance around a fire, ride around on an orb, and flip the bird to you, well then, you saw it, we believe you, and we'll report it just as you saw it, okay? We're not going to leave anything out. However, on this channel, I'm not going to use the cuss words, okay? Big deal. It's just the way I do things. But you get what I'm talking about. The more people send in their encounters and relate what happened, the more and more other people say, hey, that happened to me also. I'm not nuts. Not only are you getting it off of your chest and helping you with the PTSD, you're also validating somebody else's experience so that they can get a grip on things and maybe even come forward with their own. And also they can send it around, and so can you send these stories around of other people's experiences to people that you know that gave you a hard time and say, hey, look here, this happens to other people as well. You know, rub it in their nose. You may say, well, that's not very nice. Well, it wasn't very nice when they didn't take you at your word and they left you to suffer with the consequences either, was it? Right? Okay. Anyway, let's get off of my stupid little rant there. We have another viewer-submitted email come in today. It's actually from Dale from the Chattanooga area. He has reached out to me again. He says, hello, Chris. How are you? I hope all is well. I've been taking time getting back to what I love to do. Hunting, camping, hiking, etc. I have not been in the woods since my Sasquatch sightings on the Tennessee River a few years ago, down on the Tennessee River fishing for those 3 days. I'm going to interject here. That is the encounter that he sent to us several videos back, where the Sasquatch were across the river from him, hooting like owls and teaching the baby one to hoot like an owl, remember? I'll continue. That encounter shocked me to my core. The last day, I saw that very large Sasquatch, and it shocked me to my core and terrified me to go back into the woods. I started getting back into the woods about 3 weeks ago, and I'm shocked at all the encounters that I'm having on a regular basis in these, with light whoops and whistles. My lab, taking that as a Labrador Retriever, my lab and I were camping the night before last in a remote, primitive campground just this past Wednesday night. Something was stalking or circling our camp most all night, and one family got terrified, packed up and left, with the fire still burning. The 2 guys I camped near stayed there to experience it again, but I was not going back up there to deal with these things. For me, once they knew that I know they existed and that they knew that I was no threat, they continually revealed themselves to me and let me know they're in the area. For 3 weeks, I have gathered tons of video evidence, photos, and something weird watching me in the woods. My Sasquatch encounters are not aggressive encounters at all, but for some reason, they like interacting with me. Whether I'm up here in the Cumberland Mountains or up in South Cherokee National Forest in the Appalachian Mountains, where I first saw the bear footprints in the snow back in 2012. That's the day it became real for me. And ever since, I could not count the encounters that I kept occurring on a regular basis. I do go to remote campsites in both places and have encounters up there and down here where I live. They were interacting with the other 2 campers I was with the night before last, and they're the only ones that wanted to stay there and deal with these things. I started putting up some videos about 3 weeks ago, and I'm just learning and have never done it before. I feel a little like a school kid in an elementary class trying to learn to edit and post videos, LOL. I'll send you a couple of photos to give you an idea, and I have a very clear picture of a footprint I will send to you. The woods are littered with them in places. I could send you all the photos in the world, but we know none of that matters because, I believe, the belief in these things is on an individual basis. Scott Carpenter's right. These beings are on the fringes of our major cities and on the fringes of society all over the world. Thank you very much for what you are doing and giving people the courage to come forward. Thank you very much, Dale. Thank you, Dale, for sending in this email for all of us. And you're right about these things being just everywhere. They're near our cities, and sometimes they're actually in the cities, into dumpsters and whatnot. People have actually made reports of them walking down the streets of cities. So they're just about everywhere. And I'm glad you found Scott Carpenter. I think as far as origins and what these creatures are, Scott is probably on the right track. And he lives very near you. I did get a chance to look at the videos that you posted on your channel, Dale, and you're doing a really good job. I'm glad that you're posting those up there. And all the viewers, I'd like to encourage you to visit Dale's channel. I'm going to leave a link. I'm going to put a card up in the upper right hand corner of the video. You'll be able to see the link. You can click there. I'll also put it in the description below. Visit Dale's channel. Like, share, and subscribe to Dale P's channel, and check out his videos and give him some support. He's coming out. He was out of the woods for about 2 years because of the impact of coming virtually face to face with the Sasquatch people, and his encounters were not violent nor all that scary, and it still made that type of an impact on outdoorsmen Just a regular good old boy, outdoorsman type of guy, hunting, fishing all of his life. So you can imagine people coming across a nasty Sasquatch, the type of horrific impact that's going to have on people when they come across one screaming at them and chasing them and pushing trees over at them and throwing things and making horrible faces and shouting at them and that type of thing. So you really need to know that these things are out there. They do these things to people. They have done them for centuries and worse. So be aware. That's the whole thing for this channel, is to make people aware so you can make people aware and get this information out by sharing these videos around. That's what the share button's for. You know people that need to hear this. So share it around, okay? And send in your own encounters. You need to get it off your chest. We need to get the details. So I really want to encourage you to do that, as well as go to Dale's channel. The other day when I was viewing his videos, he had like 3 subscribers. I became the 4th. Let's get him some subscribers. He's putting it out there. He's showing you the areas where he's had experiences. He's showing you some tree structures, some footprints, as well as other evidence in the area where he goes. So support this and share those videos around so that others become aware that these things are right there and they like to watch us. And we need to be aware, because there are other things out there also that do the same thing, and they're not as nice as these beings. All right, let's take a look, and I think today we're going to go to the state of Utah. And we have one here from 2005 in September. Utah County, Utah. This one reads, okay, my wife and I decided to look at the fall leaves in Covered Bridge Canyon just off Highway 6, about 5 minutes up Spanish Fork Canyon. Instead of parking off the side of the road, I decided to drive the short way up to the Sterling Hollow trailhead. So I got to the trailhead and turned the Jeep around so we could view the other side of the canyon. We decided to get out, and we were standing in the front of the Jeep talking quietly. And my wife said she wanted to sit in the Jeep, so I asked her why, and she told me she doesn't feel good about standing there. I had also noticed that uneasy feeling and agreed. I opened the passenger door forward, then went around to the driver's side and got in. I found the keys and started to start the Jeep when I looked at my wife, who was staring at the small grassy flat. I turned to agree, and a big, fast, black, hairy object made me turn my head to the left, and I saw it run very fast into the thick oak trees. It looked about 6 feet tall, hunched over, but it covered a lot of ground fast. I saw it for only a few seconds. I looked at my wife. She sat frozen, and I knew what I saw. I thought it was a Bigfoot. So I asked my wife if it was a bear. She said no. So I asked if it was a moose. She said no. So I asked if it was a black cow. She said it was a hairy Bigfoot. She said she had watched it the whole time after I left her in the Jeep and got in myself till I started the Jeep, and she said it was a Bigfoot. I hightailed it out of there and returned at dark with hunting equipment to track it, but only found where it went through the oak. The leaves were deep and the bank was tore up. I've been an avid hunter my whole life. It was not an animal known to me. I know it was not a bear, moose, elk, cow, or anything I've ever seen. All right, and there we have the uneasy feelings that so many times accompany encounters like this. This one, they said about 6 feet tall, so it was more than likely a young Bigfoot. Now, I don't know why he returned at night. Said he was a hunter, but they saw it in the daytime. If you see something in the daytime, why wouldn't you go in the daytime? Try to repeat the circumstances under which you saw in the first place. He must have been watching some of the television shows and mimicking what they do. Just a thought, if I were out there, I would go in the daytime to see if I could find tracks and tree structures, just for the simple fact that I could see. And if Bigfoot are out at night, they are more adapted to be able to see at night. Why handicap yourself and put yourself in a situation where you can't see, but they can? It just doesn't make sense to me. Also, they weren't banging on a tree and screaming into the darkness to have an encounter. Something else to think about. And once again, I'd like to encourage you all to like, share, subscribe to this channel. Also, leave comments down below. It helps out the channel as well. And use my email, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Send in what happened to you. Share your encounters. Alrighty then, let's check her out and see if we have some other stories here. And here's an older one, 1962. Long before the age of the internet, even before the Patterson-Gimlin film. So let's take a look at this one here. This one reads, this sighting took place in Utah, Wasatch Mountains, 1962. I was 5 years old at the time. My dad was stationed at the Hill Air Force Base. One weekend in the spring, my family and 2 others from the base went on a picnic. We traveled up into the mountains off Highway 89. We were in the Wasatch National Forest, going toward the present-day ski areas, only less developed at that time. There was snow on the higher peaks, but a pleasant day. The time was morning, around 9 to 10 a.m. I couldn't wait to play in the mountains. When we arrived at our location, an open area just 100 yards off the road, the adults started setting up the grill and setting up other things. I was with 3 other children around my age, and we ran off up the side of a large mountain. We found a small open field and started playing hide and go seek. We were about 200 yards from our parents, and there was no one else around, no cars or other people. The area had a lot of smaller pines and scrub brush. We felt safe where we were. After 20 minutes or so, we went up the mountain a little further and began playing. There was a small mound on the west side of where we were playing, and I thought that would be a great spot to hide. As the counting began, I ran around the mound and was trying to hide when I got the feeling I was being watched. I turned around, and about 30 feet from me, standing beside a large tree and bush, was a very large creature. It was just standing there watching me, and I was looking at it. It didn't make any aggressive moves or sounds. It was just content watching me. It had reddish-brown long hair over its body, dark eyes, and fairly tall. I slowly got up and started walking backward. Our eyes locked on one another. It's like we both were in a trance or something. Some feeling inside of me told me this was not a safe situation, and that's when I broke off the stair and ran as fast as I could. I ran right past my friends and started screaming all the way down the mountain. When I arrived at the picnic site, I was almost too excited to talk. I ran to my dad and told him what I saw, and he and the other adults agreed that I saw something, but perhaps only a deer or a bobcat. My dad agreed to go back up there to check this out. When we got back to the site, we of course found nothing. But later on, as we were leaving the area, I happened to look up at the part of the mountain we were playing on, and there it was again, in the same spot, watching us leave. Before I could say anything, we rounded the corner and lost sight of it. For years after, I was terrified of going into the forest alone. At the time of the incident, there was no talk about Bigfoot. It was not in the media, and not on television. I just knew that I saw a strange creature. Years later, I saw a photo or a drawing, and it brought back this memory. I believe that this creature was watching us kids play and was very interested in us. And once again, we have parents not believing a child when they said they saw something. They believed that the child saw something, but they didn't believe his description. Let me just say something. A child of 5 years old are very, very observant. That's how they learn. They observe everything in great detail and mimic it. That's how they learn and grow. So if a child around 5 years old describes something to you, they're describing it without preconceptions or bias. So you can pretty much safely assume that what they're describing is very, very accurate. All right? We need to listen to our children, especially in situations like these. If they say a bad man is watching them, if they say a dog followed them, if they say it was a very, very large monster looking at them, you'd better believe it. Too many of these stories are of people reporting when they were children that they were not believed, and many times they suffered a lot of psychological problems because they weren't believed and were hurt because the adults did not pay attention to them and pushed them off and did not count what they described as being worth investigation. So let's pay attention to our loved ones, folks, okay? This was a very, very interesting story. Before the internet, before the report of Bigfoot sightings for the most part, 1962. And just remember, the next time you are out there on a family picnic playing hide and go seek, or fishing, or hunting, or camping, remember to keep an eye on the tree line to see what's keeping an eye on you. We'll see you in the next one. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.